What's up everybody, you're watching Model Aviator, I'm Adam. This week we have a new release announcement and review of a plane from HobbyKing. This is the Durafly Tundra version 3. This airplane's got some improvements and new features. We'll get into all that, but first let's check out the assembly. The V3 Tundra comes with the quick setup guide page that comes with a lot of the Durafly planes nowadays. You have pertinent setup information like balance, control throw, stuff like that. There's some specs. There's a QR code that you can scan to get access to the full manual if you need it. If you've been assembling foamies for a bit, you can probably do what I did and just find your way through it. All of the screws are Allen head. There's no glue required. It's a pretty simple assembly. The part count is pretty low. We started with the gear. There's a front and rear gear wire. The front gear wire is the one with the L bend in it. There's a double slotted collar on that wire. You take your rear wire and slide it through the second slot in that collar, making sure the ring on that collar is to the inside. You then slide the 2 gear wire into place. You'll slide the V-brace into place. Then there are 2 covers. You simply put those into place and tighten them down with 3 screws each. You then want to take your spring attachment rod and hook it into the loop on the double slotted collar. You want to put your spring on the other end, use a set of needle nose pliers and attach the springs into the loop in the center of the center brace. Be sure and use some Loctite and tighten down that grub screw on that double slotted collar or bracket, whatever you want to call it. Next, you'll put your wheels into place. Be sure and put some oil on the axles before you do this. I didn't, and you'll hear the result of that later. You're welcome. The end of the axle is threaded, and you just take a simple plastic cap and screw it into place to hold the main wheels on. Next, you'll slide your tail wheel into the provided slot and use 2 screws on either side to hold it in place. There's a single carbon spar for the horizontals. You slide those into place and tighten them down underneath with 1 screw each. There's a single carbon spar for the main wings. They now have automatic electronic plugs for everything. You slide those into place, and on top where it's convenient, you have 2 screws per wing to tighten those down. The only thing left now is your struts. There's a single screw on either end. At this point, program your transmitter and install your receiver of choice. There is a convenient hatch right here where you can install your receiver. Also gives you access to the elevator and rudder servo. They have quick connects on the push rods, so centering those surfaces after you put the ball link on the ball on the control horn is very easy to do. The push rods are already installed on the wing, so center your control surfaces. Once you have all that done, you have the airplane set up. Last thing is install your prop. Ours was actually balanced out of the box, but double check yours. Don't just assume that they're all going to be balanced. The V3 Tundra has a wingspan of 51 inches. It's 36.25 inches long. Our example weighs 2 pounds, 11.4 ounces with a 2200 4S pack. It has a 3636 900 kV brushless outrunner, an Aerostar G2 40 amp brushless ESC, 6 9-gram servos, and it's recommended that you use an 1800 to 2200 4S pack. The Tundra V3 is sold as the plug and play, which means you choose the radio protocol and install your receiver of choice yourself. A 6-channel receiver will get you all the functions the airplane has to offer out of the box. You'll have elevator, rudder with a steerable tail wheel, ailerons, flaps, and those are slotted flaps with 45 degrees of travel, which means you can get them to 90 degrees relative to the wing, which is air brake territory if you'd like. Obviously, you'll have throttle control, and the Aerostar ESC has a reverse function, so not only 4-cell compatibility, but reverse, and you can use that 6-channel to control that. When it comes to choosing a receiver, some people like to use a stabilizer. Sometimes that's separate from the receiver depending upon what you like to use. You may need an extra channel to be able to control the modes of your stabilizer depending upon what you choose. Some protocols like Spectrum don't require the use of an extra channel to give you that function, and some do, so just Know that you got to choose your receiver carefully depending upon what functions you want, and of course you can make a trade-off if you'd like. If you don't care anything about thrust reverse or have a need for it, you can use that channel for your stabilizer instead if you'd like. The Tundra V3 is a top loader. There's plenty of room in the battery bay for the recommended size packs, as well as a bit larger if you'd like. You'll notice a slot cut in the top of the fuse there. That exposes the wing tube. You can thread some string or some low tension fishing line through there, tie it off, and with the new 4-cell power, use this as a tow plane for up to 2-meter gliders if you'd like. Comes with optional vortex generators. The slots are pre-cut. If you'd like to install those, a single drop of thin CA, press them in, and you're good to go. Comes with full LED navigation and landing lights. There's a rotating beacon or simulated beacon underneath, and they're very bright. Comes in 2 paint schemes. The classic Tundra scheme, the green and white. This is called the Inspire scheme. This is red and silver, and they come with floats, all the necessary brackets and hardware to install those floats, and as you can see, the floats will match the paint scheme that you choose. You'll get a water rudder that attaches where the tail wheel does. That, combined with the reverse thrust, will make water operations very easy. There is some laser cut balsa pieces, or actually this is light ply pieces. Put those together and that will give you a FPV camera mount. There are a couple of optional things. You can get optional skis in lieu of wheels if you'd like to buy those, and it comes with this foam spacer that goes between the fuselage and the optional candy dropper if you'd like to get one of those. Setup on the Tundra V3 is pretty basic. The quick setup guide gives you all the needed information. You have balance, you have a couple of rate throw suggestions, flat throw suggestion. It's really everything you need to get started. A few things to go over before we get into the flying footage. First thing is we did want more elevator and rudder throw than we got stock, so we maximized our mechanical advantage. We pulled the servo arms, moved the quick connects out to the outermost hole of the servo arm. We moved our ball links to the innermost hole on the control horn to maximize throw there. We did not make any mechanical adjustments to the wings themselves. Another thing is, in the literature here and on the box over there, doesn't say anything about 3S power, and we know you're going to ask, can you fly it on 3S? So we did, so you'll definitely see the difference in 3 and 4S power. And when it comes to a stabilizer, we use Spectrum protocol, so we put an AR630 in there. That's an AS3X safe receiver. We did not activate safe. We did, however, activate AS3X and put it on a switch. So we flew the plane both ways. So many airplanes in this class now have stabilizers. We just wanted to give this thing a fair shot against those when it comes to summing up this airplane. So we'll be able to tell you how it flew both ways as far as that goes. So our full setup info page is next. Pause that, take a look at it, print it, whatever you need to do. Check out the flying. We'll meet you back here and we'll give you our final thoughts. In this first little bit of footage, we just wanted to show off the LEDs in the low light early morning conditions and show you the stall tests. This is our first dirty stall with the flaps down. drops straight forward. I immediately let go of the elevator and it recovered. This will be a clean stall. Straight forward with just a little bit of a left wing drop. Not bad. We're going to climb back up, drop the flaps, and I'm going to do a dirty stall and hold full up elevator. And as you can see, it just kind of wallows and drops straight forward. Pretty docile stall characteristics. This is going to be a full, unedited 4-cell demo flight. Worth noting, this is the first flight after we got the airplane set up. On this flight, we're flying on a 4-cell 2200. That's the heaviest of the 3 packs that we used in the Tundra. Even with the heaviest of our 3 packs, still very predictable, very stable slow with no bad adds. We're going to tuck the flaps away now and give you a full speed pass on 4S. The Tundra knife edge as well. As you might expect with a high-wing plane, there is a bit of coupling. And now we're transitioning to a flat turn, and the cross control positions don't face this one. On 4-cell, the Tundra V3 is as overpowered as you'd expect it to be, and there's enough aerobatic capability to do any kind of sport aerobatics you'd like to do, and then some. For a sport bush plane, the Tundra V3 has a very crisp, fast roll rate. Inverted flight is a non-event, very stable, and takes very little elevator or speed to hold it. We're going to give hovering a second try. And there's a hover with a punch out vertically coming up in some bonus footage later. That one wheeler kinda sucked. I've got to give that another try. This one's a little better. We actually forgot to use the reverse in that demo, so we actually went back out to the field. This is a different day, much windier day, just to show you that. When it comes to bush plane stuff, the big tires and the springy gear can handle pretty much anything you throw at it, and the Tundra flies slow very well. Taking off and landing in a short distance is going to be easy whether you use the reverse or not, but when you do, you pretty much stop instantly. Obviously, for the people that want to fly their Tundra on floats, the reverse feature is big time improvement. It is fun to play with the gear on though. I was impressed with the power on 3-cell. I'm not sure what I expected. I think I was psyched out a bit because there really wasn't anything about 3-cell in the literature that I got. But it's got really good power on 3-cell, and as you can see here, you can really get the nose up and get it slow with that super light 3-cell 2200 pack. 4-cell, obviously the power is just stupid, but that's what we've come to expect. This is going to be plenty for a lot of people, and it's nice knowing that whatever packs you have, the Tundra's going to fly well on them, 3S or 4S. We talked a lot about the flight characteristics during the flying, and it's no surprise Tundras fly well. They're a favorite of many. They've etched their place in the conversation about best airplane in this category. Where they rank, that's a matter of opinion and it's up for debate, but the fact of the matter is they belong in the conversation. Very, very good, solid airplane. And with all of the improvements that have been made, it has all the features that people look for in the very best of the airplanes in the category, so it's even more of a contender now than it was before the V3. When it comes to flying the airplane on a stabilizer, that's not something that everybody is going to want to do. Thankfully, you don't have to. The airplane flies very good without the AS3X activated. When we activate it, we did tune it specifically for this airplane. Not very complicated. And a stabilizer makes the difference that you would think that it makes. If there's a bit of wind, obviously it makes the airplane a bit easier to handle. When it comes to flying it in no wind, it can absolutely be set up by somebody that knows what they're doing to fly just fine and be very stable, very predictable. Without a gyro, when you add it, it's just going to feel that much more, dare I say, locked in. I know that's kind of overused. More stable, maybe even more predictable, if you will. The gyro, no gyro debate will go on forever, and the fact of the matter is, whatever camp you're in, the airplane can deliver. If you decide to use one, it responds well to it. If you decide not to, you don't have to have it. When it comes to the skill level involved, obviously any airplane in this configuration, if it's dialed down, could feasibly be a decent trainer. It's always going to be my personal opinion based on my experience that the best trainers are very, very simple, high wing, 3-axis control, no flaps, no bells and whistles, tricycle gear. I think that is the configuration for some of the best trainers out there. Doesn't mean you can't learn on something like this under the right circumstances. Maybe if you're using a stabilizer that has a self-leveling feature. If you have an instructor, you can, that helps with a lot of airplanes. So could it be a trainer? Yes, but in my opinion, it's best suited as a second airplane. It has flaps, has a lot of power, a lot of capability. And of course, a experienced pilot can obviously have a whole lot of fun with a Tundra. When it comes to the price point, it is the V3. It has all the features that you expect in an airplane like this in this category. It is one of the better flying airplanes in the category. There's a lot of good flying airplanes. This is right there with the very best of them. So looking at the price point, we think that's absolutely fair for what you get, and it's very competitive, being a plug and play and otherwise full featured foam bush plane. So if you decide that you'd like to add one of these to your hangar, we'll put a link that will make it easy for you to do just that if you decide to. That's it for us. We like it. Take care of yourselves. Happy flying. We'll see you next week with something cool with wings.